Hello, and welcome to another edition of Cooking Shenanigans with Mrs. Anderson, Math Edition. Today we will be making melt in your mouth chicken. So the first thing I'm going to do is spray the pan. Now in the recipe it did not say to cut up the chicken, but I went ahead and did that because it was suggested in the comments of a post. Didn't say to do that either, but here we are. All right, so I'm going to spread this chicken out in the bottom of the pan. I have already preheated the oven to 375 degrees. So I'm going to just move this chicken around on the bottom of the pan. And I used about 3 pounds so that it would cover the bottom of the pan or the dish. All right, so inside of this bowl, I have 1 cup of, it says mayonnaise. I had more Miracle Whip. It's actually the healthy kind of Miracle Whip. We're not going to tell my husband because then he wouldn't like it. I think you know how that goes. So let's put this in there and we'll see how it tastes. Now you know that I am all about only substituting one thing. And I'll have to be honest, we're going to substitute about 3 things today. So we have the Miracle Whip in there. And instead of measuring this ahead of time, I wanted to show you, for my students, how about the slit. So sometimes it'll say tear here. And you've got to find that little bitty slit, and sometimes it's really hard to find. Then you're going to pull it across. If you're not sure where it is, look to where it actually says tear here, because that'll help you. There you go. I'm going to put a 1/2 cup of mozzarella cheese in there. Now, mozzarella is a softer cheese than Parmesan cheese. It's called for Parmesan cheese. And a lot of times people make chicken with Parmesan cheese. So this will have a different taste than Parmesan would have, but we're going to use what we have. So 1/2 cup. I wonder how many 1/2 cups would fit into a cup. That's right, 2. 1/2 plus 1/2 equals 1 whole. So 2 of these equal 1 of these. This is not the same size as a drinking cup. All right, we're going to pour that in. We have our 1/2 cup of, in this case, mozzarella cheese. Next, it says 1.5 teaspoon of seasoning salt. So here we have the seasoning salt right here. Now I have a teaspoon and a tablespoon. Now these spoons were not designed for measurement. They're just not deep enough. And when you put something on there, if you have ever put a liquid on either of these, then you'll notice that different times you put it in there, it's hard to get it just right on the edge. So when it's deeper, like this measuring spoon, it's easier to get an accurate measurement. So this is what the utensil that we use, and we call it a teaspoon. This is actually the measuring device that we would use, and I would highly recommend that. This is a tablespoon, which is larger, but I wouldn't use actual spoons. I would use the measuring devices. So it says 1.5 teaspoons. And so I have a 1/2 teaspoon here. I wonder how many 1/2 teaspoons I need to get a 1.5 teaspoons. That's right, 3. 1/2 Now notice that I'm shaking it off a little bit. Shake it off, so that it's level. 1/2 plus 1/2 more is 1 teaspoon, and then 1/2 more is 1 1/2. Notice that teaspoon, TSP, does not have the B in it. The B is for a tablespoon. We needed teaspoons. So then, the next problem I had was that it called for garlic powder. And garlic powder is not the same thing as garlic salt. I only had garlic salt. But garlic salt is a mixture of garlic powder and salt. So if I put the amount of garlic powder that I need in here, then it would be too salty. So I'm going to just put a little bitty bit of it. Just going to dash it a little bit. That's it. I did not put the full measurement in there because we don't want to have too much salt. We don't want that salty taste, and too much salt would not be good for our blood pressure either. So we're going to mix that. Let's see if we mixed any ingredients. We need pepper. We got out the pepper. How much pepper do we need? We need 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. So I'm going to clean my device here, my little spoon. I call it a measuring device again. It would be interesting to measure out the difference between the two, between the teaspoon utensil and the teaspoon measuring device. But that's not something we're going to do today. You can do that at home if you would like. There you go. So we have 1/2. It's level. We're going to put it in there. Then we're going to double check our recipe and make sure that we have everything that we need. 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. We used mozzarella instead. 1 cup of mayo. We used Miracle Whip. 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. We used a teeny tiny bit of garlic salt. 1 1/2 teaspoon of seasoning salt. We did that. 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. We did that. So it says spread the mixture over the chicken and bake it at 375 degrees for 45 minutes. Just need to add baking powder to my list here. And then we'll spread our mixture on top of the chicken. Mix it up real good. Remember, I like to scrape the sides of the pan, or over the bowl in this case. Scrape it all out of there, get all the goodness out. There you go. And spread it all out. Spread it out, spread it out. Instead of shake it off, spread it out, spread it out. We could have made more of that mixture. We could have doubled it and had more to spread over the chicken. But we use what we have. It will be all right. Now friends, why is it that I don't like to substitute more than one thing? It's the same thing in science. It's because if we substitute more than one ingredient, we won't know what it is that we liked or didn't like about the recipe. So that's spread around. And now I'm going to put it into the oven. Set the timer for 45 minutes. And we'll see what that looks like when it comes out. All right, fabulous friends, that was another edition of Cooking Shenanigans with Mrs. Anderson. By the way, the chicken was tasty and the family devoured it all. All the changes were still good.